It's been a long time since I made a video, and longer still since I made a Why I Love. I didn't mean it to be that way, but life happens. I will get to that at the end of the video, for those who are curious. As for now, I will tell you about another shmup, and yet another roguelike. Here's why I love Broodstar. Broodstar is, like I said, a roguelike shmup. That's enough for me to give a game a try. Luckily for me, this is my favorite style of shmup, one with a health bar and shopping. I somewhat recently learned that this is what some would call a Euro shmup, which I think is meant to be kind of an insult, but I love it. Look at my older videos, see my love of Raptor Call of the Shadows. This loosely defined subgenre is what I like to play the most. I wish they were more popular. So if anyone watching this knows more shmups like this, please tell me. Anyway, this game gives you a health bar, and you earn money by picking up coins enemies drop, which can be spent on upgrades for your ship during a run. That's where the roguelike part shines. And it also does something I greatly enjoy. You can easily snowball into becoming very overpowered in a very enjoyable way. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but I love when that happens in a roguelike. You have a great run, and you're basically an unstoppable destructive force, as long as you survive those early stages. It's very fun for me. I love just being able to smash my way through something and win very definitively. This is a game that feels made for me, so someone who plays a lot more shmups than I do, especially the very bullet hell type games, will probably find this game to be a walk in the park. But if you're like me, and not very good at shmups, this will be great for you. There are difficulty settings, easy, medium, and hard if you really want to change at the challenge a bit. There should be a better explanation of the difficulty in-game, but I believe the changes are basically how much health enemies have and how much damage they dish out. And honestly speaking, I feel like the game could have been a little bit harder, but by adding more enemies into each level and maybe spicing up the bullet patterns or speeding some of them up. The game progresses through 10 levels so far, each ending with a boss fight. On the HUD, there's a little line showing your progress towards the boss and a point at which random event might occur. As I mentioned, you earn money to buy upgrades, but they also drop from winning a boss fight and some random events that happen in a run. The upgrades aren't too out there, mostly being stat upgrades, weapon changes, drones, active skills, or other small passive upgrades. The game throws enemies and obstacles at you throughout the level, and the bosses are the biggest challenge in the game. They are kind of bullet hell light. Some bosses throw more bullets at you than others, but none really fill the screen like you'd see in a very difficult bullet hell game. The game does also give you a helpful tool to avoid damage, a dodge. You have an invincible dodge, however, you can't spam it as it consumes fuel. This gives the dodge a more tactical feel. You have to know when to use the dodge, so you don't run out of fuel when you really need it. But you do have a health bar, so even if you make a mistake, you aren't going to be instantly dead. The controls are very responsive, so when you aren't dodging, you can fly smoothly between bullets coming at you. The game feels really good to control, asking the players to use a mix of skillful flying and smart use of the dodge. This combined with the upgrades that increase your power over the run just make for a very fun time. I guess I should actually say a thing or two about the upgrades. The game has two types of upgrades. The ones you get during a run, and some that are permanent. The in-run upgrades most often impact your stats. Your shield, movement speed, damage, rate of fire, fuel capacity, and fuel regen. These are pretty easy to understand, and it's good when they go up. There are far too many upgrades to talk about succinctly here, but they might give you a sub-weapon, helpful drones, an active item, impact your bullet pattern, give you a different weapon, make shops more common, or make it so you can only move by dodging. Just to list a few types and examples. I find that anything that alters your shot pattern is very powerful. If you see it, go for it. The permanent upgrades are fairly simple, for the most part. Here's an upgrade web, which is something I always love to see. The small nodes are mostly things that give you a minor stat increase, but those big nodes are more complicated. You have to unlock all the surrounding nodes to be able to unlock them. They might make it so when you boost, you gain a little shield, or have your drones inherit your bullet modifiers. To get points for these upgrades, you need to acquire in-run upgrades. 4 of those equals 1 point here. This mix of permanent upgrades and in-run upgrades feels great. The permanent ones can give you a little boost to help you complete more stages, and the in-run upgrades make every run just a little bit different. About the only complaint I have here is this node. I think this should just be the case without any upgrading. It isn't really fun to precisely fly through every pickup in the beginning. The runs aren't very long, in the current state of the game. They take about 30 minutes, and you can save and quit at any time. You'll just start from the beginning of whatever level you're on. I feel like this game really respects my time. Can't always sit down for hours on end. I'm very busy, and I wish I wasn't. The pacing of this game is also very well done. Kinda wish there were more upgrades thrown at you faster, but I realize if they did that, you would either become unkillable right away, or they would have to rebalance every upgrade to be somewhat smaller. The way the game flows feels nice. It still lets you be challenged while you're building up to becoming a beast. The controls feel good, the gameplay is enjoyable, the upgrades add variety. Everything comes together to make a very enjoyable game. The art is pretty cool too. It does a good job of tying everything together, and everything all fits well thematically. The music is great. The soundtrack has a very classic feel to it, a bit crunchy, a bit jazzy. I love it. I've played many runs of this game, and I've not wanted to turn down the music at all. Oh, and one last cool little feature. You have full control over the color of your HUD. See? That's a nifty option to put into games. So really, this game is great, and it's a steal at $5. It's worth every penny. If you're into roguelike shmups, this is one you should absolutely grab. Okay, we aren't done, even after I recommended this game. I have to state that this game is in early access while I'm making this video, in August 2021. It is still worth the purchase because it's great fun, but it isn't finished yet. So I think I may do a final section on all early access games to talk about in the future, for me to openly suggest things I would like to see in those games in the future. First off, as I said, the game isn't complete. They have not added the final area yet, so I'm just looking forward to more of this game. But in terms of that, I feel like there could be a little more to make each run feel more unique. There should be way more random events, and some more alternate stages. The events right now are kind of limited, and they all reward you, but there should be way more. They all don't have to reward the player with something special, just make something different happen so each run will feel more different than the last. I know the developers have mentioned that a codex will be coming in the future, which is great, because I find that some upgrade modules could use a little more in-depth explanations. I would love to see an explanation of the difficulty in the game, and I know this is a huge ask, see some tweaks made to hard mode or add an alternate hard mode that increases the difficulty by changing bullet patterns and adding more enemies rather than just tougher enemies. Lastly, and the one I really hope makes it into the game, would be that buying upgrades that impact your drones slightly improves your chances of finding drone modules in shops. Sometimes I will run across numerous drone upgrades, but I might never see any drones. Okay, I guess I have one more, as in I would just like more? More upgrades. Bigger permanent upgrade web. More enemies, more levels, more bosses, more of everything. I hope that these do not come across as demands, because if they just end up adding a final area, the enemies that fit there, and the boss, I'll be super happy. I already am very happy with this game, and I assume it's made by a small team that very well might not have the time, people, or resources to implement all of these things I mentioned. I just hope that they're successful with this game and make it into the game they really want to. I just also have dreams of what more could be. Seriously, if you've gotten to this point of the video, just go buy the game. Okay everyone, thanks for watching. I'm so happy to finally make another video. I was struggling there for a while. I wasn't really finding any games that filled me with the desire to make a video on. I do have a backlog of games I would like to make videos on, so I should just start tapping into that. But the bigger delaying factor was that I moved. I moved to a new apartment. Moving into an apartment is a lot of work, especially when all I had before was garbage furniture. So I have been spending the past 2 months trying to get all of that in order, and I think it's finally coming together. Of course, life wouldn't be so nice as to just let that be that, and during this time work has also been very busy and very stressful. I've not had tons of time outside of work to get going on my passions, so I really did my best to budget my time and make this video, because honestly, I just enjoy making them. Okay, that's what's been going on. I know I promise a new video sooner in basically every video I make, but that really should be the case this time. I know what I want to talk about next, I just need to find the time to do it. So join me for whenever that is.